Well, senior international correspondent George Thomas is just back from Africa. He joins us now. George, I'm shocked to learn that these locusts have actually been spotted in China. How is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. As my kids would say, Pat, that is cray-cray. I mean, it really is crazy. But the officials from the Food and Agriculture Organization warned the Chinese authorities on February 11th that a swarm of locusts leaving Africa would fly across the Red Sea, across Europe, and into the westernmost province of China known as Xinjiang. Incidentally, it's a province that I have been to, and this is the winter season in Xinjiang province. And so Chinese authorities told the national media just in the last 48 hours, they are not concerned of any threat from these locusts because it is wintertime in Xinjiang province. And they say it's very unlikely that these locusts will travel further inland into China. China, as you know, Pat, has all of the various wherewithal to deal with this. They've got high-tech technology. They've even told the United Nations that they've been tracking this particular swarm of locusts coming into the western part of China, so they're not concerned.
Does anybody know what the origin of these locusts from? Where did they come from?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if you were to look back in 2018, we have a map that was provided to us by the United Nations, but off the coast of Yemen and Oman, there's a desert region that's primarily, there's no water. And last year they got hit by torrential rainfall. And then they had two cyclones hit that very region. That is very, very unusual, Pat. And those conditions gave rise and just allowed these locusts to multiply by the millions. And now, obviously, the concern, all eyes, as we focused on yesterday, all eyes are on the Horn of Africa, East Africa. But as you look at the map, the border region of India and Pakistan, they are also concerned in that region, and also along the both sides of the Red Sea, Sudan, Saudi Arabia, and Yemen. But right now, as you mentioned, Pat, all eyes are on the Horn of Africa. You see there, all those red dots represent millions, billions of swarms of locusts, and that is the concern. That's where all the focus is right now, Pat.
George, one last question. Do you have any knowledge of how many people may be affected by this from starvation?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, those who are really in the crosshairs are folks in Africa. I mean, India, Pakistan, Iran, China, they all have the wherewithal. They're not dealing with acute, food shortages. They're not so much at risk. They have the wherewithal to deal with this. My biggest concern is those who are living in Africa. As I mentioned yesterday, that particular region of the area that's being hit right now, the estimates are between 18 million to 20 million are already facing acute food shortages. This is making it worse. Hopefully, that the United Nations and other NGOs can step in the next few months. Again, the harvest and the planting season, the planting and the harvest season happened between now and June, and so really hoping that they can curb this before it gets any worse.
Thank you, George.